Good afternoon, everyone. Today we join you from the new CBBC Beijing office in Guomao, which, although currently still a building site, will soon be the new home of CBBC here in the capital when we move across from China Life Tower next month. I'm joined here by the chair of the China-Britain Business Council, Sir Sherard, who is 6 days into a 10-day visit covering the big four cities of Shenzhen, Shanghai, Beijing and Guangzhou in this order, and a busy schedule of events and meetings along the way. With Sir Sherard here in China, we thought it would be an ideal opportunity to sit down and get his thoughts on the last few years at CBBC, UK-China relations, the role for CBBC here in China and in the UK, and reflections on his visit so far. So Sherard, first of all, it's a real pleasure to welcome you back here in China after 3.5 years. How does it feel to be back?
Well, Tom, the pleasure is mine and the pleasure of the visiting group from London. It's 3.5 years since the last CBBC visit from London, and we've been received so warmly everywhere we've been. We see this great city, this great country, bouncing back from COVID, engaging with Britain, and we've been welcomed at the most senior levels by party secretaries, by senior ministers, and it makes me more determined than ever to build on the momentum of this visit and keep it going through the rest of this year and beyond. Fantastic.
And we're already halfway through what is a busy programme of meetings and events. What has stood out for you so far?
Well, the excitement of crossing into Shenzhen, seeing about 1/3 of the vehicles on the road now electric, something we're not remotely at in the United Kingdom, moving up here, coming to Beijing, chairing in person a meeting of the Confucius Institute Advisory Council, very exciting. Then dropping back down to Shanghai, which is exciting as ever, meeting the big British firms there, going out for the Great British Day Out, learning that we're moving in Shanghai from 4 direct flights a week to 4 direct flights a day between London and Shanghai. And then here in Beijing, of course, the great capital, the great center of China, politically, economically in so many ways, and the center of our operations. And then the pièce de résistance, the cherry on the cake, is seeing this wonderful new office space, which will be our base in Beijing for many years to come.
Excellent. My next couple of questions will focus on CBBC. Starting with how you feel the role of CBBC has evolved during your time as chair, and where you see our priorities over the coming years.
Well, the CBBC has been the voice and the vehicle of British business in China for some 70 years, and we're very proud of that. But we can't just look in the rearview mirror, we need to look forward, and we need to realize that most of the great British companies, and we have some 500 members who've been in China for a long time, don't particularly need our help with investment promotion or export promotion. What they need is us as an advocate for that relationship when there are political headwinds. So although we still have very successful Launchpad, China Navigator operations, the real work now is acting as the advocate for that relationship. And that's central to what we do in London, and it's central to what we'll be doing here in Beijing over the next 3 days.
Now that China's borders have reopened and connectivity between the UK and China is beginning to recover, do you expect to be making more visits to China over the course of 2023?
Definitely. Try to keep me away, Tom. I'm going to be back in November. I'm already thinking of visits into next year. We will be back, and we'll be making sure not just I and the senior people at CBBC in London come, but we get British ministers, British officials, British trade delegations. We need to reconnect our two countries after a very difficult 3 years.
Fantastic. And we recently hosted China's Vice President Han Zheng in London, and we'll soon welcome officials from Shanghai and Hainan. And clearly interest from China to re-engage with the UK is growing. What are your hopes for visits going the other direction from China to the UK?
Well, they're very high as well. The Vice President's visit could hardly have gone better. He saw the King, the Prince of Wales, the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary. And then we discovered that he was a supporter of Arsenal Football Club. So we gave him an Arsenal football shirt. and it was a very pleasant business dinner we hosted for him. And he's now, I think, a friend of this relationship, and we'll be working to encourage more reciprocal visits in both directions, starting very soon with the Lord Mayor of London coming out, and then building up to the summer break, and then through the autumn.
And there's no denying UK-China relations have been through a bumpy period going back to even the years prior to the pandemic. But with the integrated review refresh now in place and both sides increasingly talking of engagement, how do you see UK-China relations today?
Well, as they used to say to me when I was ambassador in Afghanistan, progress is being made, undoubtedly, but challenges remain, and we've got to address those challenges. That's what CBBC is for. Build on the progress, work with our friends in the Chinese embassy in London, with our friends in the British embassy here in Beijing, with our friends in the network of consulates general across both countries, and the network of CBBC offices to build forward and out and put this relationship back where it belongs. Always remembering that for the first time in history, the total volume of trade between Yingguo and Zhongguo, between the United Kingdom and China, has exceeded $110 billion.
And CBBC is blessed with a vibrant and growing membership base across the UK and China. What message do you have for our members?
Well, for our members in the United Kingdom, come out to China, see for yourself, engage with Chinese clients, Chinese customers, Chinese friends, Chinese partners, travel around the country. It is so enormous. And while you're here, take advantage of all the assets of this extraordinary ancient civilization with a very, very bright future.
Fantastic. And any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our network?
Well, the only thought I have really for everyone on the network is only connect. CBBC, in the end, is about human connectivity, about connecting not just our economies, but real people, real ideas, real economies, so that in the end, our peoples, their prosperity, their security, their happiness benefit from the exchanges between Britain and China. So thank you so much to all my Chinese friends, all our colleagues at CBBC, to you, Tom, and the team, for all the hard work you put into preparing what is, at least so far, an incredibly successful, productive, and rewarding visit.
Thank you, Sherard, and thank you, everyone. And we look forward to hopefully seeing some of you and for into your next visit to China, hopefully,
yes,
in November later this year. So thank you.
Excellent.